The monitor started screaming while my hands were still inside the patient.
He is dropping.
Pressure's dropping.
Quickly.
I see it. I snapped. Even though my vision had just blurred for a second, the operating room tilted. My stomach rolled. I leaned heavily on the surgical table to steady myself. Dr. Carter, the attending said calmly. Too calm. I've got it. I lied. I was 8 weeks pregnant, and no one here knew, and if they found out, I can only imagine the outcome. The bleeding slowed. My sutures were clean. Textbook clean. My hands didn't shake. When we closed, Whitman studied me like I was a liability calculation, not a surgeon but a risk. My name is Dr. Emily Carter. 3rd year surgical resident. Top candidate for fellowship, and pregnant with a hospital director's grandson. Last year, a resident in my program got pregnant. They called it personal leave. She never came back. I'd spent 6 months before any of this building a different kind of insurance policy. I knew the camera blind spots in the East Corridor by week 1, not because I was hiding anything then, but because you learn to map a place before you need the exits. I'd watched what happened to the residents who got sick, who grieved, who had anything personal leak into their professional surface. I started keeping notes, not a journal. A record, dates, decisions, patterns. The fellowship candidate who'd been quietly redirected after a board member's daughter applied. The attending who'd been put on administrative review 2 weeks after he filed a complaint about scheduling. I wasn't building a case yet. I was just paying attention in a system that rewarded people who didn't. The pregnancy changed my timeline. That's all. I told Daniel that night. He was still in his scrubs. I don't know how to say this without it sounding like a disaster. He smiled gently. You're the least dramatic person I know. I'm pregnant. The smile faded slowly. Not in panic. More like recalculation. He sat down. Okay. I echoed. He nodded once, thinking. Okay. We breathe. We think. We don't spiral. I hated that he was calm. Say something messy, I said. Anything. He ran a hand through his hair. I'm scared, he admitted. I don't want to say the wrong thing. There isn't a right thing. He looked up at me then softer. Are you happy? I hesitated. I don't know. He swallowed. Me neither. Silence stretched between us. I can talk to my dad, he said carefully. There it is. Emily. No, I knew that was coming. I'm not trying to control this, he said, frustration slipping in. I'm trying to protect you. From what? You know from what? I did. He respects you, Daniel continued. If we tell him early, he can make sure this doesn't become political. Political? I let out a breath. It's my body. It's a board-run hospital, he shot back. Everything is political. He stood up, pacing now. You think I don't see what happens here? I do. I don't fight it by lighting a match in the middle of the room. I'm not lighting a match. I'm existing. He stopped. That's exactly what scares me, he said quietly. The nausea got worse. I threw up between rounds and blamed it on bad cafeteria coffee. I memorized the rest of the camera blind spots, all of them now, every floor, and used them deliberately, efficiently, without guilt. You work with what the building gives you. Then during a 6-hour resection, the dizziness hit hard. Clamp, I said, and my hand trembled. Just once, Whitman noticed, afterward. He didn't yell. He just said, you look thin, Carter. Sleeping. I'm fine. He held my gaze a second too long. This is a competitive year. I'm aware. Good. That afternoon, an email landed in my inbox. Performance review. Executive board. Executive. Not routine. Daniel called me before I could call him. I just heard. From who? He didn't answer fast enough. Daniel. I didn't tell him, he said quickly. But he's not blind. People talk. Did you defend me? Of course I did. How? Silence. I said you were under pressure, he admitted. I laughed once. Under pressure? That's not an attack. It's not protection either. His voice tightened. What do you want from me, Em? To pretend the system isn't the system? I want you to stop translating me into something manageable. That's not fair. You were supposed to stand beside me, I said, softer now. Not in front of me. He went quiet then. I love you. I closed my eyes. I know. That's not a strategy, he added bitterly. No, I said. It isn't. Director Hayes didn't look prepared. He looked tired. That threw me. Emily, he said. Not Dr. Carter. Sit down. He dismissed the others with a look I didn't catch. 3 of the 5 filed out. My mentor stayed. So did the woman who'd leaned forward earlier, whose name I realized I'd never learned. We're not going to do the formal version, Hayes said. All right. He set down the folder in front of him, without opening it. How far along are you? I didn't answer. He nodded slowly. 8 weeks, probably. You started declining the York coffee around week 5. I've seen this before. I waited. Your outcomes are excellent, he said. It sounded like a concession. I know. The fellowship. He paused. The fellowship was never fully yours to lose. That landed differently than I expected. There's a donor, he continued. Bancroft. His daughter is finishing her 2nd year in Boston. The slot was always going to accommodate her. Your candidacy existed to create competitive legitimacy. I heard it. I let it settle. You used me. The program used your performance. There's a distinction. Is there? He looked at me then, and it was the first time I felt like he was actually seeing me rather than categorizing me. You're better than she is, he said. I want that on record, even if it's only ever said in this room. I didn't thank him. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing, he said. I want you to understand what you're in. I've always understood it. No, he said quietly. You understood that it was unfair. That's different from understanding that it's indifferent. He stood, fixed his jacket. Take the maternity leave when you need it. Come back. There will be another fellowship. Possibly even a better one. Possibly. Yes, he said. Possibly. He left, and my mentor didn't move for a long moment. Then she said very quietly, he's not wrong about the donor. I know. He's also not wrong that you're better. I picked at my bag. That's a strange thing to say to someone you just watched get erased. She didn't have an answer for that. Neither did I. He showed up without calling. That was new. I opened the door, and he looked like he hadn't slept, which was also new, because Daniel always sleeps. It's one of the things I've resented about him in a low-grade, unkind way for years. I told my father I was done with the board. He said that I looked at him. I sent the email this afternoon. Daniel, let me finish. He stepped in. Didn't sit. He called me back in 15 minutes. He said it was a reaction. That I was letting you make decisions for me. And I said, he stopped. I said he was probably right, and that I was making them anyway. I sat down. He's going to make it hard, I said. Probably. He has leverage over your career. Yes. And your relationship with him, such as it is. Daniel laughed once, without humor. Such as it is. I looked at him standing in my kitchen, in yesterday's scrubs, having done something I didn't ask him to do, and couldn't undo. I felt something I didn't expect. Anger. I didn't want that. I said. He blinked. What? I didn't want you to blow it up. I didn't ask you to blow it up. I stopped. I was figuring out how to live inside the problem. And now you've handed me a different problem, and I'm supposed to be grateful. He stared at me. I love you, I said. And I am so angry at you right now. He sat down then, finally, across from me. Okay, he said. Okay. Yeah, he said quietly. Okay. We sat there for a long time. Is the baby, he started. I don't know yet, I said. I'm still working that out. He nodded. Didn't push. Outside, a siren went by. One of ours, probably from the hospital 3 blocks away. I'm not my father, he said. Not defensively. Just as information. I know, I said. I know that now. What changed? I thought about it. He would never have sent the email, I said. Daniel was quiet for a moment. No, he agreed. He wouldn't. I'm 22 weeks now. The flutter isn't a flutter anymore. It's more specific. More demanding. Sometimes in the middle of a laparoscopic procedure I feel it and I have to choose very consciously not to think about what it means that I'm still here. They didn't fire me. They didn't discipline me. They reshuffled a few schedules and quietly stopped copying me on certain emails, and I started showing up to the meetings I wasn't invited to, and after the 3rd time, they stopped pretending to be surprised. Whitman told me last week that I had good hands. Coming from Whitman, that's a paragraph. The fellowship went to the Bancroft girl. She's not bad. I've watched her operate twice now, cataloging the gaps without meaning to, the way you do when you've trained yourself to see where things can go wrong. She'll be fine and I'll be better, but I don't say that with triumph. I say it the way I say anything true, flatly, without apology. As a fact, I'll have to keep proving in rooms that would prefer I didn't. The record I've been keeping is still there. Updated. Indexed. I haven't decided yet what to do with it. Maybe nothing. Maybe it's enough that it exists, that someone in this building is paying attention and writing. Maybe someday the timing will be right, and it won't be about me at all. It'll be about the next one, the baby kicks during night shifts that I don't know what that means. Maybe nothing that I put my hand over it sometimes, briefly, in the elevator between floors, then I scrub in. That's enough.